All right, guys.
We're
We're
back.
back.
We just
We
came,
just came,
a
a
little
little
commercial
commercial
break
break
there,
there, and we are back. We have
with
Big Joe is still here, obviously, the big toe. And we got with us a real special guest. We haven't dug outside of wrestling guests in quite some time. And when we did, we looked at the WWE the last couple of weeks, and they just had that lumberjack match with the zombies. So we went out and got us a zombie hunter. Anthony Green, it's all good. I know you might have been undead not too long ago, but we got someone here to protect us. And Father Stokes, Seth Gilliam, sorry, Seth, how's it going tonight? From The Walking Dead, of course.
It's going all right. It's going all right. It's good to be with you guys.
You're wearing that Met stuff, though. You know me and Joe are Boston guys, right? You know 86 still stings.
Yeah, I'm sure it does. But I think you guys have done a lot better since '86 than we have.
Yeah, this is true. This is true.
Yeah.
Seth, how's it going tonight? I know you're in the middle of a lot of things going on right now. Everything good on that end?
Everything is good on this end. Yeah, I'm just trying to avoid the heat, man. It's got up to like 90 degrees.
Yeah, it was brutal out in Boston today. Now you've been a part of like some other than The Walking Dead, like The Wire, Law and Order, Criminal Intent. Like you got quite a resume. How did you break into acting?
The college that I went to a state school, SUNY Purchase, a theater training program, and at the end of your senior year, you got to do 2 scenes in New York City for a gathering of casting directors and agents in the industry. I got an agent out of that. And a week after I graduated, I landed my first role in Richard III with Denzel Washington playing Richard III out in the Delacour Theater in Central Park. I was the Prince Edward of Wales.
Okay. Yeah. So you started off small.
Yeah. Just a little bit.
Joe, you were about to say something.
Like where I first saw you is Starship Troopers. And that's got a cult following. That's a huge movie, got a cult following. It was just, to me, I was like, holy shit, that's a badass movie. And I started following everybody. And then when I met you first doing that Con Who Must Not Be Named, in a previous couple of years ago, when I met you, I was like, this is the guy from Starship Troopers. And I think that was when you had yet to come on the show, but you did the convention. Like you filmed, you hadn't come on, but you were at the convention, and that's when I met you. I was like, this is the guy. And then we got to hang out a little bit, and I was like, this is like my first glimpse of the other side of Hollywood, when I get to see like the person behind the actor, like all these names you've portrayed. I got to meet Seth, and I have to say, Seth, you're a hell of a guy.
Oh, thank you, man. Thank you, Joe. I appreciate that. Thanks, man.
I put a smile on my face every time I seen you going through the convention, doing the things, the way you greeted people. It was awesome. And Damien he's aces.
Yeah. He's a great guy to work with. Because I can tell when I'm getting kind of tired and cranky and a little bitchy, and he comes up and whispers just the right thing in my ear. Reminds me of the joy that there is to be had in life. He's one of those type of look on the bright side type of guys, no matter what the situation is. And it is a pleasure to meet the fans and to talk to them, get an idea of get some feedback on the performance. So are things landing? Are things not landing? Is it believable? Is it unbelievable? All that kind of stuff. So I love going to the conventions for that, and it's pretty easy to stay up for people when we're talking about acting,
Yeah, I remember watching not just you, seeing some of the other celebrities from the show that were there. I mean, people like Jeffrey D. Morgan, Norman Reedus, all the way down. I'm good buddies with Cooper, and seeing him and some of the reactions that people and all of them, the people that come in and they're like they can't breathe when they see you guys, and because the Walking Dead has such a fan follow, such a devout fan following. It's almost like they're still, but the walkers are coming to get you again. and I remember hearing nothing specific, but I remember hearing several times people come up and be like, you did this and you did that, and the actor would be like, yeah, and have no idea because it's so many different scenes.
Yeah.
But you guys so well, and I love it. I don't want to let the cat out of the bag, and I apologize if I let that little clown secret out. But I mean, that's with anybody. But
yeah,
I love watching you interact with the younger, to a younger. What you do is real.
God.
You know, what you do is real to the younger fan. Am I gone?
No, I think you guys. No, you're there, Joe. I think you guys have the advantage now too, like with the convention stuff. Like when the original con started, like the original like Star Trek conventions, I'll say, started. Those guys were already done filming. Like the Star Trek series, the original series was over. You have the advantage now of actually these conventions and meeting the fans while you're still like not even close to being over with the series. You know what I mean? So like they're meeting the characters as the characters are still on TV. What's the craziest thing? What's the craziest thing that a fan has come up to you and been like, I seen you in this where you didn't think anyone would remember you for?
Oh my. Oh my. Yeah, I did a film called Punks some years ago with Patrick Ian Polk, who wrote it and directed it. And it was a small independent film. We went to a couple of festivals with it. I remember in San Francisco going to a screening of it. But it's not a film that I would imagine has Walking Dead fans watching it. You know, so someone came up to me and talked about that. Yeah, someone came up to me and talked about that, and I was like, "Oh, that's really cool. That's totally a crossover thing." You know, they let me know in essence that they were following my career. You know, it wasn't just happenstance. They were looking for things that I had been and wanted to view it, which touched me pretty closely, actually.
I think the Walking Dead fans they really are the new Trekkies. Like they're the diehard fans. They're the, you got we have in Boston. There's a zombie walk every year where they spend probably as much time in makeup as some of the zombies on The Walking Dead, and they go out and they walk around downtown Boston in character as zombies, and it's amazing to see this. And I don't think any other show really generates that. What's it like to be a part of something like that? How cool is it? And
it's kind of strange because when you're in it, and you're mostly just seeing people that you work with for that episode, and you don't really have any idea of the scope of of people who are going to be watching what you're doing when you're just working with two other people, for like a week or 10 days. So there was another reason why I like going to conventions, because we kind of shoot it, for ourselves, to support the other actor who's in the scene with you, or what the director's vision for that particular moment is all about. And you're trying to, work with each other, get to a happy place where you all come together on your ideas and everything else like that. But it's only like the two or three of you at the moment. So then you go to a convention and you get like hundreds of people coming up to you wanting to talk about that moment. And it's kind of surreal, because it's like when I was doing it, I didn't have any concept that really anybody was going to be watching it. It's the last thing you want to be thinking about when you're shooting something is, people are going to be watching. Millions of people are going to be watching this scene. You know what I mean? Yeah. It's not where you want to go with it.
Now, how did you get to become a part of The Walking Dead? Was it auditions, or did they come looking for you?
It was auditions. I auditioned for Scott Gimple out in Los Angeles. I was out in Los Angeles shooting Teen Wolf, actually. And I was actually at like the very first conventions I'd ever done was for Teen Wolf, and on the weekend, and I had to leave my table for a while to go in to meet Scott Gilliam audition for The Walking Dead. I think it was like a Saturday afternoon. And I went for him and the camera person, and then I got the offer for the role. And 6 days later, I was on set. I watched the whole, like up until at that point, it had been 4 seasons. I watched all 4 seasons on like a Saturday. I watched it on Netflix so I could know what I was getting into. And then on that Monday, I was on set. So it all happened very fast, but I came to learn later that Scott Gimple was a big fan of The Wire. He and Kirkland were big fans of The Wire. So and they'd seen me on that, and they had a couple of people from The Wire, so he already had an idea of like kind of what I do. You know what I mean?
Right. Now, Kirkland he was the one who wrote like the original comics and all of that. What was it like to actually work under him? Like the original, not just the creator of the TV show, but the creator of the product in general.
It's interesting. I asked him a few questions, and he was really open to whatever it is I was thinking. It's like, well, is Father Gabriel more of an apple or an orange person? Like, what do you think Father Gabriel's like? I don't, apple juice. I don't know. And I'd be like, so he's apple juice. So he's very generous with the characters that he created, with the world that he helped to create.
I think a lot of fans would agree with me when I say that, you turn from apple juice to poison the way you kill people. Now, it's you went from timid, being the priest and Father Gabriel, to like badass Gabriel. Like I'm gonna tell you to look over there while I cut your head off.
Yeah.
And now this is spoil. You have the Father Gabriel has the situation with his eye going on where he's blind in the one eye, and I think that, me personally, my opinion of that is that gives you better sight. If that makes sense, you can see more with less. And it carries.
I like it.
And I'm seeing fans at some of the other conventions that are coming in that are buying that the whiteout thing for the eye and going in, and more and more of them are becoming you. Before I was like, oh, I'm gonna be the priest guy, and now they're like, no, I'm Father Gabriel. I'm Father Gabriel. With the cosplay world, and it's become a huge mainstay, and it's transcended from just the timid priest who always carried the Bible to like when he's like, what, screw it, with the end of the world, let's do what we got to do to survive for us, and that speaks volumes.
No, what is it?
Yeah, well, go ahead.
I was gonna say, is it cool to see when people come dressed up as you to these things, knowing that they spend a ton of money and time?
Absolutely. I mean, it's aside from the eye, it's a fairly simple costume. Black shirt, jacket, pants, shoes, socks, and a white collar, which Gabriel like made out of a paper plate for a little while there. I think around season 7 or 8, after he tore up Bible and threw his collar in the fire while he was eating dog. This is a wild show.
I'm gonna give Father Gabriel mad props right now. Like, really, Rosita, dude, that's a good one. That's a good one.
Yeah. I don't know. I think that Father Gabriel helps to bring out the nurturer in Rosita. Because he's such a troubled man. Struggles with his faith. And he's got the eye. He's quote unquote handicapped. In that regard, and I think Rosita sees someone that she can help build back up. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. And one more question about you playing Father Gabriel in the 2 different roles. How hard was it you to juggle the transition from the guy that was sworn to the oath and did it, and to become that? I guess what I'm asking is like when that arc, when you switched, when you were going, I know I got to do what I got to do. I got to do what I got to do. And then you were like, you know what? The faith isn't working anymore. So I got to go and survive. That like watching you transition as a fan was phenomenal.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
great.
The mindset behind that. So for you, like I want to climb in your mind and find that spot that created that for me because it was phenomenal.
Yeah. Oh, thank you, man. You know, I think a lot of that goes to the writers. You know, they I think they built in enough tragedy with Gabriel that you can believe that he would have to eventually just shut the door on the kind of person that was inviting all of that tragedy in and become someone else if he was to survive. Kind of like, is it the Marines who say adapt and overcome or something like that? You know,
Yes.
it's all about survival. I think he was too full of the tragedy to keep going down that road. He even tried, you know, death by suicide, death by Sasha. You know, he was down there for a while, lost in his loss and belief and faith. So I think you know, you can only go so far before that character ultimately kills themselves. You know, but the writers decided that this guy would do the opposite. He would close the door on that person, and you know, invite another side of himself to take over and take the lead for a while. And that's someone who's going to shoot first and ask questions later. You know.
There you go. And I love the new Gabriel, like the old one.
Yeah, they're both very fun to play. You know, for very different reasons. I mean, I really enjoyed being, you know, the guy who just couldn't get it together for a while around a bunch of superheroes. You know, at the point we meet on Gabriel, this is all very new to him. He's been locked up in his church for like 18 months, you know, and Rick and crew have been out there hacking people's heads off, you know what I mean, and living from spot underneath a tree to spot underneath a rock, you know what I mean, always on the move and everything else. So Gabriel was kind of like I would imagine most people would be in a you know, in a horrible kind of apocalyptic situation, and they'd be very you know, self-obsessed, and it would be not so much about looking after other people. I think, you know, Gabriel was one of those people, you know.
Gabriel,
and that was fun to play because he was different than he was like the total diametrically opposed, you know, to say Daryl. You know what I mean? Everybody wants to be Daryl and imagines themselves being Daryl with a crossbow and being badass. And I think a lot more people would have been like Father Gabriel, like lock the church and so you got your own home.
Oh,
you know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Get off my lawn.
Yeah.
I remember watching you come out of the church for the first time. It was like you trying to walk into a thunderstorm of a shower at the beach, and you've never swam before. You know.
Yeah.
Even looking back and if you watch the whole group of you move from one like down the road, you could see them all walking, and you're kind of holding your Bible and looking around, like because you didn't know what the heck was going on, but you just knew you were with these people and they were going to protect you. And that itself, to be the polar opposite of everybody around you, is great.
Yeah. It was. It was fun. It was fun to play. It was fun to be, you know, the guy trying to catch up. But it's also been fun to play, you know, the other side of Gabriel, who is less open, you know, and is far more guarded.
Yes.
I touched on it earlier. Like, you were a part of a lot of other shows, like, and I think, like, I don't know if it was as popular, but I mean, The Wire was wildly popular too.
Yeah, you know, a lot of people came to the Wire late. We had like a hardcore, you know, following of people who were just all Wire all the time. But the audience didn't really grow until people started. This was before, you know, the DVR. People were handing out VHS tapes of The Wire. You know what I mean? Kind of got like that kind of, you know, word on the street is this is the show you should be watching, following, you know, which is very loyal.
No, it's such a good show, and like that whole, I mean, HBO at that point really had the chain on that type of shows. Where now A&E's got Walking Dead, and there's other shows that are sort of edgy like that. But I think The Walking Dead is really like, I think the Walking Dead broke the mold and put that type of show on basic cable.
Yeah. And I'm still amazed at the kind of stuff they can get away with on basic cable. You know what I mean? It makes sense if you're spending $29.99 a month, signing up, whatever it is these days. But yeah, basic cable where it could be seen by everybody in the family and it didn't have any, no lockbox.
No, and like you said, like what they get away with as far as, there's some blood and there's some guts, there's some tainted meat, there's, which is probably my favorite line in any television episode ever. And it came out of The Walking
It's good. Yeah, it came out of The Walking Dead. It is a good one.
Oh, so many good one-liners came out of there.
Yeah.
And a lot of them came from Abraham. Suck my nuts. That.
Yeah.
That my kids say that now. Like, even my daughter says. Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Do you now, or will you ever? Because we are a pro wrestling podcast, sort of. Were you ever a pro wrestling fan?
Was I ever? I liked back in the day. I liked the antics of Hulk Hogan. You know what I mean? He seemed to understand that there was entertainment that goes behind all the hard work he put up in the gym and everything else, and all the training that he did. You know what I mean? To get the body that he had and the athleticism that he had at that size. You know what I mean? So I liked Hulk Hogan for a while. Yeah.
They recently had a match on a pay-per-view where the ring was surrounded by zombies. Would you have been able to survive that?
No.
Like the object of the match was you get thrown out of the ring, the zombies beat you up or eat you up and throw you back in. Like what would normally be called a lumberjack match, it was a zombie jack match. So that I think you'd survive.
So what do you got to? You got to beat people down to stay in the ring, right? You got to keep them getting lifted up and tossed out, right?
Yeah,
160 pounds. I'm done in the first 30 seconds.
So you have the high ground from the zombies. You know what I mean? The zombies are on the ground and they don't have brains. They can't climb into the ring. So you kind of get the high ground on them.
That's true. And if I got the high ground, why do I want to go into them? I don't want to go into them. I want to throw somebody else into them.
That's the object.
That's what I'm saying.
Into them. No,
I'm saying at my height and my weight, I would wind up being thrown into the zombies quite a bit. I get thrown in, they toss me back. I get thrown in, they toss me back.
Yeah, you're going up against Batista, maybe, but you go up against some of the more in the middleweight class, you'd be good. I mean, I've seen you work.
You think? All right. I can.
It's come out years ago that it's sports entertainment, for pro wrestling, and so you can break that down to another level and say it's a form of acting. Even back in the Hulk Hogan day, is there? If you were to create your character right now to go into the WWE ring, how do you think you would see yourself in the ring? Like, what would your persona be?
I would have to be something fierce and fearless, and I would probably be like, I would take on like some kind of honey badger thing, I'd be like the honey badger. I'd come in with a honey hat, and then furry wrists. I'd plate my nails black to look like claws, and I would be fearless and fast. That's what honey badgers are. I mean, honey badger doesn't, I don't want to curse on the podcast. Honey badger don't give a fuck. You see the video. Honey badger would take on anything and everything. It's not fair.
Oh, yeah. So you'd get in the ring with Batista as the honey badger.
As a honey badger, and I'd have to go for his feet, keep around his ankles, something like that, hope to snap an Achilles or something, pull him down, get him down on the mat that way, and then go for the throat.
Now, what would be the honey badger's catchphrase? Like he enters the ring or he's about to hit his power move. what does the honey badger yell?
I like honey badger yelling, "I don't give a fuck," and then doing it. Honey badger don't give a fuck, and then leaping from the top.
Oh, yeah, that actually works. That would work. And I can see I'm gonna go where you were saying you're gonna go after those. I'm thinking your finishing move would be like an ankle throw, the figure four on him.
Yeah, it'd have to be something where I get him down on the ground and lock him up somehow.
Honey Badger Give a Fuck might be the title of this episode.
Honey Badger Don't Give a Fuck with Seth Gilliam. I'm going to talk to a friend of mine, as you know, many of the artists at the conventions, about drawing that for you.
Yeah. Let's see what the honey badger looks like on paper.
How hard is it for you to walk down the street now?
It depends where I am. If I'm in New York, it's pretty easy. It's my hometown, and people are very much, who gives a fuck who you are. And so New York, I can walk around pretty easily with. In Georgia, it's a little more difficult because I think, around where we shoot the show, people have been watching it for years. You know what I mean? They know storylines inside and out. What's that?
People go from all over the country to see where it's shot too. That's now a destination.
Yeah, it is. It is.
So,
and it's the little main street in Sonoya is packed every Saturday with people.
If you ever want to make money, you go sit on the church steps and sell autographs for $50.
People would buy it. People would buy it.
Yeah.
That's a retirement, right? That's your retirement fund right there.
That's my retirement fund. I'm going to hold off on that. I don't want to cash on that just yet. You know what I mean?
No,
I got to find a way to maximize that.
There is so much left on the I read the comics for The Walking Dead, so I thought the show would have ended after a couple of seasons. It's still going so strong. And what's funny is the comic book fans who are diehard comic book fans really stuck with it, which is cool because the second I'm sure you've seen this as being a part of that show, the second you stray from a comic book storyline, how quick they can turn on you. But now that there's no comic book go by, there's nothing for them to turn on,
Yeah, it's true.
What they would say, based on the conversations I've had with fans at the conventions, what they would say is, I don't like the way they did that. They should have done it my way, and this is how I would have done it. And they tell you the whole spiel. That I know you've heard that.
I have.
How I would have done it, and they go on and
that's
play by play. They give you the breakdown.
That's one of the cool things of the Walking Dead fandom is that they've got their own alternative storylines for everybody, and they're vivid and they're detailed and they're descriptive when they share it with you. So it's not a lot of shows do that. Do they try to anticipate what's going to happen to people or try to change a moment that was already shot and aired? You know what I mean?
And they introduce characters. The way they introduce characters, the way you came in season 4, you came in a popular character right off the bat. You look at the way the governor came in, super popular off the bat, and it's just the way they tell the story is.
So it could be
between you guys.
Super popular, but at the beginning, super hated.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's okay.
Yeah.
Hated by the people fan base.
Yeah.
Without an antagonist, there's no reason to watch without an antagonist like that, though.
Yeah,
dead.
I didn't mind it until people started wishing me personally. Look, if something bad happens to me, I'm sure they're going to cast somebody else to play Father Gabriel. He's going to be with you, whether it's me or somebody else. So, you know what I mean?
We had somebody commenting on our Facebook that she came over a few years ago from the UK to Sonoya a couple of years ago to meet you. Lisa Ann Tubbett. So, people travel the world to go meet you guys. What was the point where you went from what was the point where you knew you were just a popular actor at this point, like where you knew you were something, a superstar?
I'm still waiting for that moment, but
Yeah, right.
I I guess with the fan base, it was after Father Gabriel takes baby Judith when the walkers have overrun Alexandria and volunteers to take her to safety and takes her to his tiny congregation there at the garage that he put up as his church, and announces that they're going out to fight for Alexandria, and that's what God has decreed. And I think that was a turning point for a lot of the fan base. One, it was taking care of baby Judith, which was huge, and two, it was actually making a decisive choice to fight, not to flee.
Okay. Now, Seth, I know you have like a crazy schedule going on right now, and we've had you for about a half hour. Joe, I don't know if you have anything else, but I don't want to take up a lot of Seth's time.
I'm good whenever Seth is. He says, "Guys, I'm out." That honey badger don't give him motherfucking shit.
Do you interact? How often? How interactive with you are your fans on like social media and that type of thing?
I'm very interactive on my Facebook fan page. I have an administrator who comes up with all the memes, which is just fantastic. They're great at that.
This one,
and
that.
yeah, and who also navigates. I'm technically I'm an infant. You know what I mean? You put a keyboard in front of me, I'm going to start teething on it. It's not like I know what to really do. So I have to have an administrator who lines things up for me. But I like to keep a personal touch on it because I'm asking them to watch what I do. You know what I mean?
Right.
So that means I can be a little available, to them, and I figure it's probably a different experience than they're having with any other actor that they have interactions with on social media, because it's actually it's just a couple of people dealing with it.
I know with things starting to open back up in the crazy world we're in, like the conventions should start coming back around. Are you excited for that again?
I'm excited for. I'm excited. I'm always excited to talk about acting. So if you got a group of people around me who want to talk about it, and they're gonna pay to take my picture, that's just an added bonus. But it's more about trying to see whether or not what I'm doing is landing the way I intended to, and the conventions give me great feedback in that regard. So I miss that. I miss that that kind of interaction that I have with the people who watch what I do.
So we had somebody commenting on Facebook asking if you can say happy birthday to Lisa Ann Tebbett. Her birthday is next week. That's completely up to you.
Happy birthday, Lisa Ann Tebbett. What kind of name is Tebbett? Looks like it's two names together. Tebbett up.
It's British. She's in London. So that's probably
okay.
1,000-year-old name.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
Now, to get back to your Facebook page, like I follow your page, I commented on it. I'm a top fan, but to some of the I'm gonna call them gimmicks that you come up with to interact. Like we're gonna start with A. Give me your favorite song starting with A, and you go, and that is so interactive, and that has people come out and see, oh, Seth, Father Gabriel. Oh, and I've heard people, I've read some of the threads of people. Oh, I didn't know you did this, and they bring in more, and then they'll bring in another friend, and it's just it's longevity. It's brilliant. Yeah. I know you have fun doing it. I know you do it out of your heart. I'm not just saying it's a ploy, but you do it because you love your fans and you want to interact. And it's just great to see that. and the way you like comment on their posts, and then I see friends come post their own thing and say, "Oh my God, Seth replied to me," and things like that. It's just really cool.
Yeah, yeah. I particularly like, and I can't take credit for it. It was my administrator's idea to post pictures with the fans. She's like, you don't have to take pictures yourself at these conventions. It's like you take one selfie before everybody gets there, so you can see the difference when it's in an empty hall, and then you take one selfie when everybody's in, like 3 o'clock or 2 o'clock in the afternoon, to see the difference. But it's not like I'm taking pictures of myself all day long. I'm taking pictures that people are taking away. She's like, give them a chance to see themselves with you on your page. I think it would be a cool idea, and I thought that was a brilliant idea because it brings us even closer. It gets people going through their phone, their phone photos to see whether or not we got a picture, who they have a picture with, and what kind of memories I can bring back up to them. Hopefully, it's good. It seemed like a good, idea all the way around.
And that's sort of a sales pitch too for people to pay. They pay the convention to take a picture with you, and they're going to take a picture with you, and they're going to wind up on your Facebook page, possibly. You know what I mean?
Right.
So it's a
yeah.
Well, and I don't mean it as just because I do know it's more than that to you, but like, how cool is that to get your picture up there, and then you can comment right under it, tag yourself, and be like, "Look, this is me with Seth from The Walking Dead."
Yeah,
and you tell your friends that you're not only on your page, they're on your page, not just their own. Is how I'm trying to word that.
Yeah. No, I thought it was a great idea, and it was like, let's do it. And we put up hundreds of pictures at this point. You know what I mean?
Has there been anybody? Because I know a lot of like celebrities are fans of The Walking Dead. Has there been anybody that's come up to you and been like, "I'm a fan," that sort of surprised you that maybe you were a fan of?
Dave Chappelle.
Really?
Is a fan of the show. Yeah, and he's also a friend of Norman Reedus's, and Norman introduced us in Los Angeles when we were there for one of the premieres. He started gushing about the show, so I thought that was really cool.
Awesome.
That's cool.
Chappelle's one of the best comedians out there, so that is
yeah.
That's
not to make it about Chappelle, but for me, not to make it about Chappelle, but for me, I think he picked off where Pryor left off. He picked up where Pryor left off.
Oh yeah.
I can see a lot of Richard Pryor with Chappelle. Yeah.
Yes. Now I get another question I have for you. This is 2 questions actually, similar.
You can't count, so it might really be full.
How many selfies do you think of you with people are out there? Just give me a round number. And my second question is, how many people do you think only know you as Father Gabriel? They don't know Seth. They don't realize Seth.
I think they realize Seth. I think I must have taken 10,000 selfies with people.
Wow.
No, I'm going to say more, because at that convention we had just on the street. Because at the convention, every day we had over 20,000 people a day at some of those conventions.
Yeah.
Their line was always
I thousands, man. I don't know, maybe. I can't put a number on it. I can't put a number on it, and
it's my guesstimate.
But the other, 50,000. It's over 100 grand, you'd say?
Yeah, easily.
I've been thinking about this. It's been some years, and I've traveled around a lot of places doing it. It might somewhere between. I would go like 50 to 75,000, but I'll take 100.
Well, think of it.
That's what.
Think of it like where I was at a lot of conventions with you throughout the States, in Germany, in London, and we were there 2 or 3 days each place, and they were packed. Your line was nonstop. You interacted well, and that brought more people in. So I'd say you probably did every convention, probably 2,000. I'll say 2,000 at it, and you've been to how many? outside of the ones I've been to.
Oh boy, I've been to a bunch. Yeah,
You know,
maybe 100,000 is right.
yeah. And then
Are there, what would you say? Because I know out of that 100,000, I know probably 30 or 40,000 of those have been in the street. What are the rules? What would you say to somebody who sees you in the street but might be afraid to approach you? Like, I know there's got to be people, like, obviously you need privacy too. Like, if you're sitting down eating dinner at a restaurant, leave you alone
Yeah,
until you're done. Don't
yeah,
stop.
you know, if I'm on the phone arguing with somebody, it's probably not a good idea to come up. Tell me what a big fan you are. But aside from if I'm eating or if I'm arguing or you know, on the phone with somebody else, not arguing, I'm open. I'm available. You know what I mean? It's I'm just a person. I mean, I don't have a security detail, though I know people in security I can call upon should anyone mean me harm. But I don't walk around with
Right.
trying to hide in public. You know what I mean? That's I'm
Yes.
just person and an actor. Being an actor is what I do. It's not what I am. You know, it's a part of me. It's not the whole of me. So
Right.
I would say to
That's
anybody
a 9
if they
to 5 life.
yeah, yeah. If they wanted to say hello, just step on up. Just don't have it be while I'm eating or cursing somebody the fuck out on the phone.
Which would never happen, of course, right?
I've heard it. I've
But hold on. So if you're in the middle of, like, say, I don't want to say a contract negotiation, but if you're talking to a convention that's trying to, like, lowball you, and you're cussing them out for trying to lowball you, and 10 fans come up to you and ask you for a picture on the street, that might actually be good for you.
Well, you mean if they were drawn to me yelling at somebody on the phone, these fans?
No, like if they just went up and said, "Hey, that's Seth Gilliam over there. I'm going to go get a picture with them," and not care that you're on the phone arguing with somebody over a contract that's trying to lowball you, and you can be like, "Listen, motherfucker, 10 people just came up to me on the street in the 2 minutes that I've been cussing you out and want a picture with me.
True.
So now you're going to pay
I'd
me
have
what
to
I'm."
switch. Have to switch it over to FaceTime so that they can see.
Yeah.
and I can speak to this because I've seen it happen. Not necessarily with you, but I've seen it with Norman. I've seen it with a few others that they'd be on the phone, and all they do is hold up the finger. You know, just give me a second, and they'll all wait quietly. It's like it's a magic wand that, like, just give me a second.
Okay. Hold up the finger.
Pay you the time, and they'll sit there and wait. And I've seen it. It's like, holy crap!
Cool.
They don't listen when I tell them to stop, but you give up that one finger, and they're gonna wait patiently.
All right.
But that's because you acknowledge them that you're going to get with them. But also, people, he is a normal guy, but if he is on the phone and he doesn't put his finger up, if he waves you away and says, "Not right now," find him you just bumped into him in the street. Chances are you're going to bump into him in the street again at some point. Wait till the next. I'll be the bad guy and say it like that because, like, I know, while there's people that are afraid to approach celebrities, there's people that aren't afraid to approach celebrities. If they're sitting down in a restaurant eating dinner with their maybe if you were sitting at a bar by yourself, maybe you're approachable. If you're sitting down with, like, your family or maybe a female, leave them alone, guys.
Yep.
Yeah.
You know, I'll be the bad guy and say that. Now, Seth, I don't want to take up a whole lot of your time. Do you want to tell people where they can find you online?
I only have my Facebook fan page under my name. You know, it's the only thing that I have. I don't have Instagram or Twitter or, you know, anything else.
I get to jump back to after this. Sorry to cut you off.
Yeah, no, that's all right. So yeah, that's my Facebook fan page. It's a picture of me in a baseball cap. There's some dude who keeps trying to assume my identity out there because I don't have the blue check, which drives people crazy for some reason. It drives me crazy. I understand you can't tell who's real and who's not, but yeah.
But the baseball cap you have on your Facebook picture is the red B on it, right?
What's that? Yeah. I'm still that fan.
'86 stings. '86 stings. I'm old enough to remember.
Me too.
Now, my next question is: you were on City on a Hill. You had a couple of
Yeah.
I think a couple
Such a good show.
on a Hill. Did you film that up here in Boston?
No, we saw that in Yonkers.
Really? I thought that
Yeah.
was Boston. I thought they split that between Boston and Vancouver. I love that show too.
Yeah, I think I don't know if this is certain, but they shoot like some exteriors in Boston and then shoot the series
Right.
around upper New York,
What was
which
it like?
apparently looks like Boston.
It does.
What's that?
What was it like working with Kevin Bacon on that?
Oh, I didn't get a chance to actually work with Kevin on that, but I did get to meet him, and he knew who I was, so that was pretty exciting for me. And then I realized that I am now no longer 6 degrees from Kevin Bacon. I'm at ground zero with Kevin Bacon. I'm at zero.
Yeah, that's
We're 2 degrees.
Yeah,
right. I'm gonna play the 6 degrees of Kevin Bacon with everybody I talk to this week now.
Yeah.
Make it a drinking game.
That's awesome. Like that's another show. I mean, that's Showtime, but that's another show that's super edgy and just great. And like Joe, I mean, well, that's a fictional show. It's based on a lot of facts. We remember a lot. Like I remember a lot of that stuff happening in Boston. The Charles Stewart and the Ahmed Khans and all of that stuff. Like, so while the show got fictional characters, it's very. If you've never seen City on a Hill, guys, it's very, very close to what Boston really like in that time frame.
It reminds me a lot of The Wire, you know, in parts, because of its attention to detail and also because of its three-dimensional characters. You know, Kevin Bacon is a kind of fucked up cat on that show, but he, you know, he's effective.
Between that and The Wire and The Walking Dead, has there been? I know there's never been a scene that you probably said because you get paid to do these things that say, "Holy shit, I can't do that." But has there been a scene that you've had to do where you said, "Holy shit, we're going to get away with this"?
Huh. Let's see.
Because I mean, no,
yeah, not really. I mean, I believe we all play parts in putting together a TV show, and you know, and my part is to speak the words, you know. So I'm always interested in knowing what the overall story is we're trying to tell, and I just suspend my disbelief to do it, you know.
With City on a Hill, did you watch the show before you were on it? Did you get a chance to watch some of it before you were in it and realize like
I was on the first episode. I mean in the first season.
Okay.
I did it and then aired after I did it. So I was in the first season. So I get that kind of feeling about it being like The Wire from having watched it.
That first season, even though it was like it was 90s and it was like Charles Stewart and all of that stuff. What was it like being a part of that now with everything going on in the world in the past year? Because that show really kind of was cutting edge as far as showing the racial tension that was in the police force at that point in the 90s and sort of the difference between then and now with it. What was it like being a part of that? Because I think that's pretty powerful.
Yeah, I didn't get to do much of the police stuff on the City on a Hill because I was playing the Reverend. But one of the things I loved about the storyline was that he had to go to sex rehab because he was, you know, trying to solicit pictures and make pictures of the women in his congregation. And I thought it was very much like a Me Too type of thing, you know, where he was kind of outed as being this total philanderer and as hypocrite. And prey on these women using his position of power to essentially prey on them in his church. So that seemed to me to be really current, and you know, I thought it was really kind of spot on for the you know the atmosphere around the show.
Yeah, the stuff that show does like that, and like I said, with the racial tension stuff, and with the the priest listening the photos and that type of thing, I think that show's just really like shows that they have the balls to kind of like touch on that stuff, and that they can do it and not offend people because they're doing it in a way that it's sort of like almost a fictional expose.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, you didn't get to see any, scandalous photos or anything like that. It was just all inferred in the dialogue. You know what I mean? You didn't have to shock people with nudity for nudity's sake. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Which I don't think, you know, which I don't think would help the story anyway. And I think the writers and the creators of that show are way too sharp to use cheap tricks like that.
Now, do you watch TV outside of the obviously like you're on TV sets most of your day, most of your week? Do you watch TV when because listen, I answer phone calls for a living. I try not to talk on the phone when I'm not doing my 9 to 5. Like, is it the same thing? How different is it?
I have a couple of shows that I watch. I watch mostly sports news, the NFL Network, and Bar Rescue. That's pretty much, I think.
JP and I
Bar Rescue
in that day.
What's that?
You and I, JP, have tore down a few bars back in the day.
Oh yeah, Ocean Kai.
They needed rest.
Yeah.
That's Joe. Unfortunately, is doesn't partake anymore in that stuff. Not unfortunately,
26
fortunately, I guess we'll say.
Hey, I'll drive you all around.
That's it. That's it. There's been a few times where I've had a few beers with Joe, where Joe hasn't. So you've snuck them in for me.
Well, and it's also like now I'm with an Irish punk band and like an Irish rock band, and I don't drink. But it's fun. It's like speaking of that, like the drinking, like when I was an altar boy, we stole the church wine. Would you say that getting back to The Walking Dead? That
the priest would have fed it to him.
Do you think Father Gabriel, in his timidness, would maybe take a couple extra sips?
we had the wine that Father Gabriel shared with Rick and the crew in the church after his confession. I think it was chronologically in the episode, and Gabriel is drinking from the bottle, straight from the bottle, wine, while Rick and the other people, and he says, it has to be blessed. It hasn't been blessed, so it's just wine. So I think that, maybe the first night or so when he realized the world had fallen apart, he may have gotten nice and loopy. But I think he was he's kind of holding off on it for a special occasion. And, Rick and crew ended up being a special occasion.
He had to aim when he's going for a walker. You have to aim for the head in the middle.
Yeah, exactly.
Now, I know the Walking Dead fans. I know the Wire fans. I know people have sort of probably dug into your life more than is probably comfortable sometimes. Is there something about Seth Gilliam that you think fans should know that most people don't know? Like something maybe that you're a fan of that people wouldn't know about or anything like that? Like something interesting about yourself that you don't think people realize? Other than that Mets outfit.
Yeah, Mets, Jets, Nets, Devils. That's how my sports.
I liked you up until 2 minutes.
Underdogs. They were all underdogs. You know what I mean? I mean, we have Martin Brodeur for a while. No, we had Chico Resch. That's right, Chico Resch back in the day with the Devils. I love Chico. I don't know. I mean, anything that I would want to tell, anything that I haven't told already is probably something that I don't want to tell now. I mean, it probably wouldn't, do well to go and secretly a vampire or some shit like that.
But I mean, no, but I think the sports fan, and it sounds like you're sort of a homer as far, and I am myself as well with Boston, New England, and
Yeah.
that type of thing.
Yeah.
That's interesting because like that's a conversation starter, and like if I wanted to crap talk, I could explain to you how the Jets don't even play in New York.
Dude, it takes a lot of courage to be a Jets fan. Are you kidding me? How bad this team is? For the football season, when I go outside every day with my Jets hat or my Jets jacket, do you know the kind of shit that I get on the streets of New York, which is a Giants town to begin with? It's horrible. It's horrible.
We grew up Red Patriots fans in the 80s and 90s, so yes, understood.
Yeah.
Wasn't always.
Do you remember back to Steve Brogan days?
It wasn't always 2001 and 2004.
Didn't the Patriots start giving away a free Jets T-shirt when you bought a Patriots one? Because they just couldn't get rid of them.
Did they really?
No, but I can see it happening. We got a quick question from Lisa Ann. Does it hurt your eye when you wear the contact?
Ooh.
What's what?
From Lisa Ann again. Does it hurt your eye when you wear the contact on the show?
Oh, yes. No, it doesn't. I have a lens technician who puts it in for me, so I don't have to deal with trying to put it in myself, which is kind of uncomfortable. And the lens tech lubricates my eye with little drops every 15 to 20 minutes to keep it from sticking to my eyeball. That's the only problem with it, is that it sucks up the moisture in my eye, so I can't cry out of that eye. The contact lens kind of soaks it up. And that's why it has to be dropped with little lubricating drops every 15 to 20 minutes. But it only really is, it's only uncomfortable for the first couple of minutes that goes in. And now it's like a minute before my eye gets adjusted to having it back in. So it does.
Do you feel blessed being on that show, because like the eye is really the only makeup you have to do, right?
What's that? Because the eye is what?
The only makeup you have to do for the show, really, right? Well, not the only makeup, but other like the normal makeup that you would do being on the TV.
Yeah. As far as like how much time I spend here.
That's because that's a huge thing. I know those makeup artists are I think artist is probably the best word to describe some of them with what they have to do on that show.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. And the makeup on this show in The Walking Dead is fantastic, man. It's fantastic. The special effects makeup, the regular makeup, it's fantastic.
Now, what are the odds after a wrap, after you guys shoot the season? How good is the party when the season wraps up?
The parties are good, man. The parties are good.
Well, even after convention parties with some of the game too.
Well, I mean, when you wrap up a season, like you guys have to know when you do a season, like season 4 to me and 5 were pretty special seasons. Mm-hmm. You have to know by the time you're done shooting that, like what you just did. You know what I mean? So I would imagine the wrap-up party for the seasons like that are going to be something spectacular. Just the celebration.
Yeah, it's a great opportunity for the crew to finally relax. You know, there's so many people. It's like a crew of 500 people. You know, there's so many people that go into putting this show on. You know, doing hard work. It's like a chain link fence. You know, if one link is down, then the whole fence is off. You know, so everybody is always bringing their A game every day for however many consecutive days we have to shoot the show. So by the time it comes around to the wrap party, people are definitely, letting their energy out. You know what I mean?
And we saw in the prison scene what happens when the chain link fence falls.
All right, Seth, we've had you for an hour now. I don't want to take up any more time.
I got like 8 messages here. Oh, okay. Yeah, is there anything else? I got time for one more, or maybe 1 or 2 more questions. If you got anything else.
I think we've hit everything. I mean, good luck on the season. I know it's going to be something awesome. Looking forward
Thank
to
you.
it. And
Thank you very much.
I'm waiting for the one. I'm
without
waiting for
asking you,
I'm waiting for the one
don't wanna
episode
do
where
it.
that collar gets bloody. I want to see blood on that collar.
Ooh,
You know, there have been a few episodes where we've had a fingerprint of blood on the collar, and the wardrobe people love getting that fingerprint of blood on the collar. But I don't know at this point. I don't know. They might as well have blood everywhere else, man.
you know, I'll say this to you because it's a show where you never know because they've done it. Good luck this season.
Oh, that's another
It
selling
was-
thing.
Yes,
Extensions,
thank you.
autograph the collar.
Ooh,
Okay.
I can't wait to watch.
Cool.
And now
yes.
I'm gonna wrap in JP. Seth, thank you so much for doing us the honor of coming on our little bitty podcast. You know, that talks about wrestling and just whatever comes along. It's an honor to have you on. Like I said, I've met you many, many times. I've been nothing but thrilled to see you every time I saw you, and I hope to see you again in the near future. And all I got to say right now, if you want to say something closing before I do, go right ahead.
Thanks for having me on. It was fun talking to you guys. You know, Joe, I've always liked your spirit from the very first moment that I met you. So this was
Thank you,
an
Mark.
easy choice to make.
Thank you. That means a lot to me. And I'm
Cool.
just going to
Good.
drop it here now and say, motherfucking honey badger out.